And howdy, everyone. Welcome to the Word, Praise, and Wisdom number 34. We checked beforehand, so we didn't mess it up. Howdy, Lynn.
Hi, again.
Okay, everybody. Today we are continuing on in the book of Proverbs, which you can read along with us if you have a Bible, or you can go to kingjamesbibleonline.org, or you can go to the blueletterbible.org, where you have multiple translations available. Or you can go to esword.net, which has multiple translations available. And read with us Proverbs 11, 12, 13, 14, finishing off with the 15th proverb. Those divisions are by man, and it could be all one long continuous proverb for all we know. Because it is. It's all praise and wisdom. So anyways, if you want to read with us, let me know below or email me, plainflyer21@yahoo.com. And like, share, subscribe if we're being a help to you, if you're finding this beneficial. We're not here to shove any particular doctrine down your throat other than righteousness comes only through the salvation that's in Christ Messiah. But you're called to repent from sin, sin being the transgression of his law. But it doesn't give you righteousness. It does give you peace.
A whole lot of it.
A whole lot of it.
Enjoy the explain.
Okay, let's pray in. Father, thank you very much for the fellowship that you're building here and bringing us all together to love our brothers and sisters. We just thank you for that and want to praise you for that, and would ask that you give everybody the knowledge and understanding that are contained within these words that we read, and just bless everybody here now and in the future. And well, thank you. We love you in Jesus Yeshua's name. Amen. Alrighty. You know what? That worked out pretty well last time, I think. Let's go ahead and give that another try. Let's share. Make sure I have the right one. Okay, there we go. Proverbs 11. A false balance is abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. When pride cometh, then cometh shame, but with the lowly is wisdom. The integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. Righteousness, the righteousness of the perfect shall direct his way, but the wicked shall fall by his own wickedness. The righteousness of the upright shall deliver them, but transgressors shall be taken in their own naughtiness. When a wicked man dieth, his expectation shall perish, and the hope of unjust men perisheth. The righteous is delivered out of trouble, and the wicked cometh in his stead. An hypocrite with his mouth destroyeth his neighbor, but through knowledge shall the just be delivered. When it goeth well with the righteous, the city rejoiceth, and when the wicked perish, there is shouting. By the blessing of the upright, the city is exalted, but is overthrown by the mouth of the wicked. He that is void of wisdom despiseth his neighbor, but a man of understanding holdeth his peace. A talebearer revealeth secrets, but he that is a faithful spirit concealeth the matter. Where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. He that is surety for a stranger shall smart for it, and he that hateth suretyship is sure. A gracious woman retaineth honor, and strong men retain riches. The merciful man doeth good to his own soul, but he that is cruel troubleth his own flesh. The wicked worketh a deceitful work, but to him that soweth righteousness shall be a sure reward. As righteousness tendeth to life, so he that pursueth evil pursueth it to his own death. They that are of a froward heart are abomination to the Lord, but such as are upright in their way are his delight. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. As a jewel of gold in a swine's snout, so a fair woman which is without discretion. The desire of the righteous is only good, but the expectation of the wicked is wrath. There is that scattereth, and yet increaseth, and there is that withholdeth more than is meet, but it tendeth to poverty. The liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that watereth shall be watered also himself. He that withholdeth corn, the people shall curse him, but blessing shall be upon the head of him that selleth it. He that diligently seeketh good procureth favor, but he that seeketh mischief, it shall come unto him. He that trusteth in his riches shall fall, but the righteous shall flourish as a branch. He that troubleth his own house shall inherit the wind, and the fool shall be servant to the wise of heart. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he that winneth souls is wise. Behold, the righteous shall be recompensed in the earth, much more the wicked and the sinner.
Chapter 12. Whoso loveth instruction loveth knowledge, but he that hateth reproach is brutish. A good man obtaineth favor in the Lord, but a man of wicked devices will be condemned. A man shall not be established by wickedness, but the root of the righteous shall not be moved. A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but she that maketh ashamed is a rottenness in his bones. The thoughts of the righteous are right, but the counsels of the wicked are deceit. The words of the wicked are to lie in wait for blood, but the mouth of the upright shall deliver them. The wicked are overthrown and are not, but the house of the righteous shall stand. A man shall be commended according to his wisdom, but he that is of a perverse heart shall be despised. He that is despised and hath a servant is better than he that honoreth himself and lacketh bread. A righteous man regardeth his life of his breast, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. He that tilleth his hand shall be satisfied with bread, but he that followeth vain persons is void of understanding. The wicked desire the net of evil men, but the root of the righteousness yieldeth fruit. The root of the righteous yieldeth fruit. The wicked is snared by the transgression of his lips, but the just shall come out of trouble. A man shall be just satisfied with good by the fruit of his mouth, and the recompense of a man's hand shall be rendered unto him. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he that hearkeneth unto counsel is wise. A fool's wrath is presently known, but a prudent man covereth shame. He that speaketh truth showeth forth righteousness, but a false witness deceit. There is that speaketh like the piercings of a sword, but the tongue of the wise is health. The lip of truth shall be established forever, but the lying tongue is but for a moment. Deceit is in the heart of them that imagine evil, but to the counselors of peace is joy. There shall no evil happen to the just, but the wicked shall be filled with mischief. Lying lips are abomination to the Lord, but they that deal truly are his delight. A prudent man concealeth knowledge, but the heart of fools proclaimeth foolishness. The hand of the diligent shall bear rule, but the slothful shall be under tribute. Heaviness in the heart of man maketh it stoop, but a good word maketh it glad. The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduceth them. The slothful man roasteth not that which he took in hunting, but the substance of a diligent man is precious. In the way of righteousness is life, and in the pathway thereof there is no death.
Proverbs 13. A wise son heareth his father's instruction, but a scorner heareth not rebuke. A man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the transgressors shall eat violence. He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, but he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction. Okay. The soul of the sluggard desireth, and hath nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. A righteous man hateth lying, but a wicked man is loathsome and cometh to shame. Righteousness keepeth him that is upright in the way, but the wickedness overthroweth the sinner. There is that maketh himself rich, yet hath nothing. There is that maketh himself poor, yet hath great riches. The ransom of a man's life are his riches, but the poor heareth not rebuke. The light of the righteous rejoiceth, but the lamp of the wicked shall be put out. Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well advised is wisdom. Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase. Hope deferred maketh the heart sick, but when the desire cometh is a tree of life. Whoso despiseth the word shall be destroyed, but he that feareth the commandment shall be rewarded. The law of the wise is a fountain of life, to depart from the snares of death. Good understanding giveth favor, but the way of transgressors is hard. Every prudent man dealeth with knowledge, but a fool layeth open his folly. A wicked messenger falleth into mischief, but a faithful ambassador is health. Poverty and shame shall be to him that refuseth instruction, but he that regardeth reproof shall be honored. The desire accomplished is sweet to the soul, but it is abomination to fools to depart from evil. He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. Evil pursueth sinners, but to the righteous good shall be repaid. A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. Much food is in the tillage of the poor, but there is that is destroyed for want of judgment. He that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes. The righteous eateth to the satisfying of his soul, but the belly of the wicked shall want.
Okay, chapter 14. Every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. He that walketh in his uprightness feareth the Lord, but he that is perverse in his ways despiseth him. In the mouth of the foolish is a rod of pride, but the lips of the wise shall preserve them. Where no oxen are, the crib is clean, but much increases by the strength of the ox. A faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. A scorner seeketh wisdom and findeth it not, but knowledge is easy unto him that understandeth. Go from the presence of a foolish man when thou perceivest not in him the lips of knowledge. The wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way, but the folly of fools is deceit. Fools make a mock at sin, but among the righteous there is favor. The heart knoweth his own bitterness, and the stranger doth not intermeddle with his joy. The house of the wicked shall be overthrown, but the tabernacle of the upright shall flourish. There is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Even in laughter the heart is sorrowful, and the end of that mirth is heaviness. The backslider in heart shall be filled with his own ways, and a good man shall be satisfied from himself. The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. A wise man feareth, and departeth from evil, but the fool rageth and is confident. He that is soon angry dealeth foolishly, and the man of wicked devices is hated. The simple inherit folly, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge. The evil bow before the good, and the wicked at the gates of the righteous. The poor is hated even of his own neighbor, but the rich hath many friends. He that despiseth his neighbor sinneth, but he that hath mercy on the poor, happy is he. Do they not err that devise evil? But mercy and truth shall be to them that devise good. In all labor there is profit, but the talk of the lips tendeth only to penury. The crown of the wise is their riches, but the foolishness of the fools is folly. A true witness delivers souls, but a deceitful witness speaketh lies. In the fear of the Lord is strong confidence, and his children shall have a place of refuge. The fear of the Lord is a fountain of life, to depart from the snares of death. In the multitude of people is the king's honor, but in the want of people is the destruction of the prince. He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding, but he that is hasty of spirit exalteth folly. A sound heart is the life of the flesh, but envy the rottenness of the bones. He that oppresseth the poor reproacheth his maker, but he that honoreth him hath mercy on the poor. The wicked is driven away in his wickedness, but the righteous have hope in his death. Wisdom resteth in the heart of him that hath understanding, but that which is in the midst of fools is made known. Righteousness exalted a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. The king's favor is toward a wise servant, but his wrath against him that causeth shame.
Proverb 15. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. The tongue of the wise useth knowledge aright, but the mouth of fools poureth out foolishness. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness therein is a breach of the spirit. A fool despiseth his father's instruction, but he that regardeth reproof is prudent. In the house of the righteous is much treasure, but in the revenues of the wicked is trouble. The lips of the wise disperse knowledge, but the heart of the foolish doeth not so. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but the prayer of the upright is his delight. The way of the wicked is an abomination unto the Lord, but he that loveth him followeth after righteousness. Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die. Hell and destruction are before the Lord. How much more then the hearts of the children of men? A scorner loveth not one that reproveth him, neither will he go unto the wise. A merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken. The heart of him that hath understanding seeth knowledge, but the mouth of fools feedeth on foolishness. All the days of the afflicted are evil, but he that is of a merry heart hath a continual feast. Better is little with fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble therewith. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is, than a stalled ox and hatred therewith. A wrathful man stirreth up strife, but he that is slow to anger appeaseth strife. The way of the slothful man is as an hedge of thorns, but the way of the righteous is made plain. A wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish man despiseth his mother. Folly is joy to him that is destitute of wisdom, but a woman of understanding walketh uprightly. Without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors they are established. A man hath joy by the answer of his mouth, and a word spoken in due season. How good it is it. The way of life is above the wise, that he may depart from hell beneath. The Lord will destroy the house of the proud, but he will establish the border of the widow. The thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to the Lord, but the words of the pure are pleasant words. He that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house, but he that hateth gifts shall live. The heart of the righteous studieth to answer, but the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he heareth the prayer of the righteous. The light of the eyes rejoiceth the heart, and a good report maketh the bones fat. The ear that heareth the reproof of life abideth among the wise. He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. The fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor, humility. All right, let's go back to 11. Okay, what did you get? You're muted.
There we go. Sorry about that. So, verse 6.
Okay.
The word is naughtiness. It just got me like naughtiness.
Right.
It's a funny word.
It's Hebrew 1942, Havah, from Hebrew 1933. Coveting, rushing, falling, desire, ruin. Let's see what 1933 is. Havah. That, interesting.
Huh.
It's supposed to mean, this is what they say, to breathe or be. How did they get that word from that word?
Ruin, mischief, just naughtiness.
Yeah,
Huh. I just thought it was interesting using that word.
it is. Well, you know what? Let's see what it used to mean. Naughtiness.
Let's see.
Okay, disobedient, badly behaved. But long ago, the earliest recorded sense was possessing nothing.
Ooh.
And the sense wicked is from Middle English and gave rise to the current senses of naughtiness. But it's interesting, it used to mean possessing nothingness or possessing nothing.
Well, because not, the first part of that word not means nothing.
Right? Yeah. Let's see. So again, we have more of these contrasts in this one, like we did in the last reading.
Mm-hmm. And you know, verses 10 and 11, you know, that
Mhm.
kind of the thought of what's going on in our own country, in our own cities, and how, you know, when you're living in a community that follows Jesus, you do have good community and you do have a happy neighborhood and etc. But with all this other wickedness going on in our midst, it brings you down. It brings you down. Brings your city down. Brings all that,
Mhm.
you know, into perishing. It's the cities are overthrown by the mouth of the wicked.
Yeah. Well, that next verse 12 there,
Mm-hmm.
that he that is void of wisdom despiseth his neighbor, but a man of understanding holds his peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just found that interesting because we have a neighbor that does early morning karaoke. And it doesn't start out early morning, but they do it in the backyard so they have enough room for their guests. And I'm just used to it. But
I do it here too in the backyard.
our new neighbors,
Phone's on and I'm shouting out a praise and making a beautiful noise.
our
Sure, neighbors love it.
our new neighbors, first time it happened to them, were outside at midnight screaming. "Ah, ah." Anyways, I don't know what that has to do with this.
I don't know. Like, yeah, just kind of like leave them alone and
What
really
about
just quiet.
16? I want to see what that word gracious means. A gracious woman, Hebrew 2580, means graciousness. Cain, kindness, favor, beauty. So, yep, she retains honor, and strong retain riches. That word men is added there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else jump out to you in 11?
Well, there's a lot of it. I mean, here's verse 17. You know,
Uh-huh.
that kind of reminds me of your temple, your body is the temple that the Holy Spirit's supposed to reside in.
Yeah.
So you should be good to your body, you know.
22 jumped out at me.
Okay.
Jewel of gold and a swine's snout, a fair woman, which is without discretion. And that, you know, it's interesting.
Fierce big snout.
That it's interesting because I had an acquaintance long ago when they were young. They had a job driving famous people around, and they had a really huge crush on a famous woman who was both an actor and a supermodel. And they got an assignment to go pick them up at the hotel and drive them around all day. And they were like all excited. And then they said, she had such a foul mouth that it still cuts me to the quick all these decades later. That it just destroyed his view and opinion of her.
Mhm.
And I thought, wow, that's that verse right there. That,
Yeah.
a fair woman without discretion, that you're like gold in a pig's snout.
Yeah. And who would do that? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just going to get it all dirty.
Mm-hmm. It's all covered in pigs.
And so that's good because I had that verse too.
Is that what you had? Something
Yeah, I
similar?
had that verse too. I thought that was really like, wow, okay. I'm gonna put a little piercing in that snout. Oh, oh. I know a lot of people with the piercings in their
snout.
snout.
Well, though, one of the things that Isaac or Abraham's servant brought when he went to get Rebecca was nose rings.
Yes.
So
I'm sure they're not big, they're small. Yeah, that is interesting.
28 I really liked, right? He that trusteth in riches shall fall, but the righteous shall flourish as a branch. And that just jumped out at me as like those that are drafted in. So, and we only get that righteous from our Savior, who is the tree of life.
Yes.
Verse 30. Very perfect. Okay, let's go to 12, shall we?
Okay.
In 12, go ahead. What do you have here?
Well, since I was reading, I did make a little mark next to verse 6.
Okay, well, let me look at 4 real quick. Because
okay.
A virtuous woman, a crown to her husband, which is, that's true. A good woman that is, the household, that manages the household, that is the backup for the husband, that supports him and everything. She's a huge blessing. And then the rest of that verse, that one that makes her husband ashamed, rottenness in his bones. Go from the very high to the very low in that one verse. Just jumped out at me. Okay, and you said, I'm sorry, what? 8?
Oh, it was
9.
6.
Oh, 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's interesting words. They lie in wait for blood. They lie in wait. They're lying in wait, but then the mouth of the upright shall deliver them. So is the mouth of the upright going to give you the warning? Hey, this person's waiting to strike on you when you're going down the path. I don't know. Is that kind of what it's saying? I mean,
yeah, seems
listen
like
to the wise counsel.
Well, then in 7, right, the wicked are overthrown and are not, right? They're not going to exist. But the house of the righteous shall stand. And that just makes me think about, the few corporations out there, or I don't want to say corporations, but few family-owned businesses where that house or family is well established and they're good to their employees. They're good to the people they conduct business with, and they don't have false balances and things like that. How have they stayed in business so long? Because of that right there, right? I mean, they shall stand, Anyways, okay. Anything else jump out to you?
Not really.
I love 11. He that tilleth his land shall be satisfied with bread,
Hmm.
but he that followeth vain is void of understanding. And then there was, I think it was later, talking about the vanity.
Vanity, vanity, all is vanity.
That this is true. It is. Okay. So, anything else for
Well,
12?
you know, we're talking a lot about our mouth and speaking truth.
Speaking truth and not wickedness
Mm-hmm.
and not mischief.
Because 23 says it. Oh, 22. Lying
Mhm.
lips are abomination.
Yep. But they that deal truly his delight,
Right. So
abomination to Yahweh.
be honest in your dealings. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
In your speakings. And I understand it in 23 when it says a prudent man concealeth knowledge.
Hmm.
Because a lot of times you just want to be quiet about what you know with certain people.
Right. Very true. All right, let's go to 13.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And a lot of this is repeating,
Mm-hmm.
but it's good. Starting with the wise son with his father's instruction, but a scorner doesn't hear rebuke.
Scorner.
Yep. Yeah. 3 is interesting. That goes kind of with what you were just saying a moment ago with the keep your mouth shut and you're going to live. But the person that's the blabbermouth and just talks to talk is going to have destruction. Oh, here we have sluggard again.
Oh,
Yep.
12 is interesting.
12.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, hope deferred. Because if you just don't have that hope, then you just kind of wither.
Right. It is.
Because you got to have something to hope for to move forward to.
Right. And then the last clause of that, the desire cometh a tree of life. So
Mm-hmm.
when we get, that righteous thing that we're hoping for, when we get that, it's a tree of life to us. And we hope for that. We keep that hope going.
Yeah.
Yep. The law of the wise is a fountain of life. I mean, just amazing. What else? Anything else in here? I got
Well,
22.
yeah. Start at 21, please.
Okay. Evil pursueth sinners, but to the righteous good shall be repaid. And that's real interesting because a lot of people have been talking about how even though you may be saved, you are in Christ, in salvation, and understand that we are the adopted of our Father. When you step off of that, you give the serpent, the enemy, legal right to harass you. Legal right. Evil pursues, what does it say? Evil pursueth sinners. But to the righteous, good shall be repaid. And then this, a good, and they added man, right? But a good leaveth an inheritance to his children's children. And the wealth of the sinner laid up for the just. Right? That goes along with they're going to lose it all. It also goes along with the parable that Yeshua said. when he gave each of the servants a coin, and one of them turned it into 10 coins, one of them turned it into 5, and then one of them just buried it and didn't do anything with it. Right? Okay, we're taking that away from you and giving it to the person that had a lot. Because you're not doing anything with it.
Yeah, and it just doesn't have to be money either. It could be pretty much anything.
Yeah. Yep.
And there we go. There's 24.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel bad about spanking my grandchildren sometimes.
I looked at that too, but what is B times? Shakar.
That means every once in a while.
Yep. Be early. Search. Interesting.
Oh.
That's interesting. So he that loves him, chastens him early. Yeah, you don't let them start developing the habits of the crap that's going to destroy their life.
Yes, and it's so awesome that Jesus does that with us too.
Right?
He gets it early, and if we're paying attention, he's,
Yep.
before we get in the big whack, he's giving us little prods. But if we don't listen, then we're getting whacked.
Right. All right, let's go to 14. Proverb 14. That sounds like just jumped in my head, but these days sounds like the sober woman and the woman on crystal meth. That every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. That, and I think about all the people I know that have dude, I think there's something in the wall, and start literally pulling their house or their apartment apart.
I can identify.
Interesting though.
You may be all speeded up and have the cleanest house in the neighborhood, but ew.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't sleep for 5 days, you didn't eat, and now you're crazy.
Yep. I thought 4 jumped out at me when you were reading. I was thinking of this, where there's no ox and the crib is clean, but much increase is by the strength of the ox. And the way that was jumping out to me, it's like, you can't, if you don't have a means to labor, to work, right? Today it would be a work truck instead of an ox, or a tractor on your farm instead of an ox. You aren't going to have cribs, right? Or you're going to have an empty crib because you can't afford children. But much increase is by the strength of the ox. That's the way it jumped out to me. Of course, I don't know what that word crib is.
Well, to me, it means that if you don't have any ox, then yeah, the crib where they're going to stay is going to be clean because they're not pooping or sleeping or eating in there.
Yep.
But you're not going to have anything either.
Right.
So your fields are going to be clean with
crib
nothing.
Oh, exactly. Hebrew 18, a boos for crib, a manger or stall. So that would be actually a manger.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm. Huh. Let's see. Anything else jump out to you in this one?
It's just a lot of, it's just a lot of, here you go. Seek out the wisdom and be prudent and don't be spreading around your unhappiness.
Mm-hmm.
Build people up. Build up your husband. Keep yourself busy.
27. The fear of the Lord, a fountain of life, to depart from the snares of death. But he has not given us over again to a spirit of fear, but a spirit of adoption, whereby we call him Abba,
Amen.
Father. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's the only ones that jumped out at me, but this is showing up now. Righteousness exalteth a nation, but sin a reproach to any people. Any nation that embraces and endorses sin is going to collapse.
History proves that.
Yep. And history is repeating. All right. Proverbs 15. One jumped out at me.
Me too.
Yep. Now, today we would call a soft answer tact. It's hard to use tact, especially when you've been blunt in the past,
Yes.
right? Just telling it like it is. That offends people or hurts their feelings. The key is to get them to figure it out on their own.
Yep. Questions work well.
Yep. Questions work well. Open-ended questions. And oftentimes you'll see them come to the realization, and then it's like, but that isn't what I wanted to figure out. Well, this is true.
Well, I got a good note in verse 4.
Okay.
Wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness therein is a breach of the spirit. And so I take that breach of the spirit. There's your open door.
Yeah.
You just breached your own door to your spirit, and now things are coming in.
Yeah. Yep. It goes back to what we were saying a minute ago with the legal authority to harass the believer if they're still sinning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. In the house of the righteous, much treasure. Now this jumped out at me. In 8, the sacrifice of the wicked an abomination to the Lord, but the prayer of the upright is delight. And that just jumped out at me because of, it says he doesn't delight in burnt offerings. That's not what he wanted. He wanted obedience. Okay. What else has jumped out at you? Got any other notes?
13.
Here? 13? Okay.
So I find it interesting that now walking with Jesus, there can be sadness and there can be brokenheartedness, but at the same time, there can be joy and peace.
Yep.
And I choose not to focus on the sorrow.
Yeah.
Because that does break you down. People have really died from broken hearts.
Yeah, 16 jumped out at me. Better little with fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble therewith. Very true. And then that continues on with that. Right? Dinner of herbs where love is, than a stalled ox and hatred therewith. I believe that's not referring to herbs that we're cultivating, but basically gathering, like going out and gathering the stuff that's growing naturally, versus having an ox that you can go and plow with. In other words, it's better to have very little and love than lots of everything and contention.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Have little and be filled up, or
Okay. Anything else
too
jumping
much
out
and
at you?
be empty.
What else? Anything else?
Well, for 26, I made a little note, if I can read it.
Mm-hmm.
Take every thought captive.
Yep. Very much so. The thoughts of the wicked an abomination to the Lord, but of the pure are pleasant words. If you're new here, you'll notice a lot of times I skip the words in italics because those are added. They added that to make it more understandable.
Mm-hmm.
But many times it'll change the entire verse,
For sure.
the entire meaning of it.
That's why we need to study.
Yep. And let's wrap it up at 33. Unless you have something before that.
No.
The fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility. I think that reads out very well. All right. Well, thank you for reading, Lynn.
You're welcome.
It's mucho apreciado. And everybody, thank you for joining us. We're very happy to have you here as our brothers and sisters. And hopefully this is a blessing to all of you as well.
Yes. It's way better when you're all here.
It is. It's much nicer when we have participants. So, okay, everybody, next reading will be Sabbath. You can join us if you want. If you want to join us, we're going to be starting at Proverbs 16 and going through 20. Bring your Bible. Doesn't have to be the King James.
For sure.
We have people that read with us that read all sorts of funny translations.
But it makes it fun because we can talk about it.
Yeah, it gives us good discussion. Well, why did they do that? That's odd they would change that word from corn to elephant. We haven't seen any that drastic yet.
Yeah.
Although we have seen items that different. Okay, anyways, everybody, have a beautiful rest of your day and beautiful rest of your week. We love you all. We'll talk to you soon.
See you soon.
Ring the little bell thingy. Okay, love you. Bye.